Let's now look at the crowded circle versus the open circle. That chapter.
Yeah.
What can we learn from that?
Ernst, why did you find this topic interesting?
Because I think that it applies to all levels. I think it applies to both the junior recreational level as to the top level, because you can use a crowded circle and you can use an empty circle. So
Yes. Yes. So here, basically, this dilemma is to raise the idea that a crowded circle is not intrinsically good, right? Because the tendency is to have a lot of players in the circle. It's been like this since 10 years ago, at least. At least. That made sense in the past, but that doesn't necessarily. I mean, the fact that everyone is doing it and the fact that you see it successfully doesn't mean that it's necessarily good or necessary. There are other possibilities. So, yeah, of course, without the offside rule, then we can use the depth of the pitch during the 90s, and then at some point in the 90s also we were quite loyal to the wings, playing with the wings on the sides. But then some coaches, they start thinking, okay, that doesn't make sense to have the wings. Let's put all the players inside the circle, and then we start smashing balls inside the circle, or looking for passes. Because we can have potential receivers, fights, duels inside the circle, physical duels, and then get an outcome. That was Australia in 2014 was a good example of that. That was crazy. It was the first time I've seen the 5-6 players in the circle. And then, of course, Argentina as well. In the Olympics, throwing a lot of balls into the circle, a lot of crosses, and getting a lot of penalty corners as well. Well, you can play without 5 or without 3 strikers inside the circle. Then the opponent has to decide. No, if we are playing against an opponent that is man marking, they will follow you, right? So if they follow you and you are using the width and you just have one center forward inside the circle, probably the free man will be around the circle as well, closing the hot line to the goal. But look, there's a lot of open space for this player, and if this player is a good striker, is someone who can lead well, then the defender can be a little bit scared, right? Because the defender says, okay, if I'm marking the free man is closing the hot line, so I'm going to stand on the other side. But then if the striker leads to the other side of the circle, then he can receive that ball. And you say, okay, yeah, Andrea, but if that's dangerous, then we put some more defenders close, and if the opponents, they go wide out, it's okay, we close the circle more. Okay, then we can play on the outside, and we have numerical superiority on the outside, and we can progress together on the outside. So it depends. We play, and we played in the past as well without a lot of strikers in the circle, and it brings different opportunities. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's more control, because then you can play better passing game outside, and once you find these spaces, it's good as well. Also, to play with an open circle, it creates a lot of space for second wave arrivals. So players, midfielders, they can join the circle after receiving this target. And then these kind of accelerations, they are very dangerous as well, because then it's difficult to cover these accelerations. You can play with 2 as well, for example, but if you play with 5, here in the Bundesliga, I've seen it as well. Some teams, they're building from the back 4, and then midfielders and strikers inside the circle. That's a different style of play. Then you will be only ready to receive in front positions, receiving, and then from this front position facing backwards, then you can start playing, and then it's a different style of play. I wouldn't say that I like the crowded circle per se. No, depending on the game. And then of course now with this new trend of defending the circle in zonal, that also makes it tricky. Because what do you want to do? You put a lot of players inside, but then you have to think, if it's zonal, you have to think where. And then here, there, in this spot, in that spot, what if we don't put a lot of players? Then what is the zonal going to do? The zonal is going to be more expensive and is going to open the spaces inside the circle, or not. If not, then we can be in the last 25 easily with easy passing combinations. And then from there, we will see. So it just to pose this dilemma, say, okay, guys, when you say, come on, there's no one in the circle, we need more players in the circle. It sounds like a mantra. Put it in, put it in doubt, I would say.
No, absolutely.